The void of space stretched endlessly, black and silent, broken only by distant stars that flickered like tiny candles in a vast dark hall. In this emptiness drifted a small human exploration ship. The Aurora Trail? She moved steadily, quietly, as if aware that her purpose in this lonely corner of the galaxy was too important to attract attention. Captain Mira Hale sat in the bridge's command chair. Her eyes focused on the display before her. Her crew, a small team of 6, worked efficiently, almost silently, their fingers moving across control panels with practiced ease. Despite their calm, the atmosphere carried a faint tension. Deep space missions were always tense. Unknown threats could appear without warning. But the Aurora Trail was designed to handle more than just routine scans or minor space debris. She carried technology that even the most advanced alien observers would not fully understand. Human ingenuity hidden in sleek. Practical design? Status report? Mira asked in a soft voice. Her calmness was habitual, but it carried the weight of responsibility for the lives aboard her ship. Lieutenant Arik Voss, the communications officer, turned slightly in his chair. All systems nominal, Captain. Sensors show no unusual energy signatures in our immediate vicinity. Long-range scans detect nothing beyond the expected cosmic background. We're alone for now, Mira nodded. Good. Keep monitoring. Remember, the last thing we want is to underestimate the universe. As if in answer to her words, somewhere far away, Varnix Dominion, a proud and aggressive alien empire, had detected the faint signal of the Aurora Trail on a massive warship. Miles long, the Varnix commander studied the human signature on his screen. Finally, he muttered to himself, a slight smile forming on his sharp features. A lone human ship. Weak, easy to capture. Our scouts have done well. The commander's belief in human weakness was not unusual among the Dominion. Humans had not been in interstellar conflicts on the scale of Varnix warfare before. Their colonies were few, and their fleets were modest compared to the expansive Dominion forces. In the commander's mind, this was an opportunity to claim a prize with minimal effort and earn personal prestige. Prepare the boarding teams, he ordered. Strike swiftly and take control before they even realize we are near. Back on the Aurora Trail, the crew continued their routine checks. Unaware of the eyes now watching them from light years away, the ship moved smoothly through the void, her hull reflecting distant starlight. The silence of space seemed almost comforting, broken only by the soft hum of engines and the quiet communication of the crew. Eric noticed something on his monitor. Captain, I'm picking up a faint disturbance outside the ship. It's irregular. Hard to define. Ira leaned forward. Define irregular. Eric adjusted the settings, scanning the energy signature with more detail. It's not natural. Not a meteor, not cosmic radiation. It's artificial, small. Could be a probe or scout, perhaps. No hostile readings yet, but it's close. Mira's expression remained calm, though her mind worked quickly. Keep tracking it. I want continuous updates. Let's see what Torhu is out there. It's outside the Aurora Trail, invisible to the human eye. A group of Varnix scouts crept closer, their ships designed to avoid detection. They were sleek, fast, and armed. The Dominion had studied humans and assumed they were slow to respond, unprepared for sudden attacks. They had no idea the humans aboard this small ship were about to surprise them in the command center of the Varnix warship. As the Dominion commander watched the scout feeds. Good, he said, confident. The humans won't know what hit them. Prepare for boarding. Today we show them the might of the Dominion. Back on the human ship, Myra's crew began to notice subtle anomalies. Lumen, the ship's AI, spoke in a calm, neutral voice. Captain, I am detecting multiple energy readings from outside. Their trajectories suggest an approach vector toward the ship, consistent with boarding attempts. Myra's eyes narrowed slightly. Show me. The holographic display shimmered to life, revealing small, sleek shapes moving toward the Aurora Trail. They're small, but organized, Lumen continued. Hostile intent is highly likely. Mira took a deep breath, steadying herself. Alert the crew. Defensive protocols, level 1. but keep it non-lethal unless absolutely necessary. We want to defend ourselves, not escalate." The crew responded immediately. Shields hummed to life along the ship's hull. Automated defense turrets rotated into position, ready to act on human commands. Sensors recalibrated to track incoming threats with pinpoint accuracy. The Aurora trail was small, but she was far from defenseless. The Varnic scouts made their move, expecting to meet minimal resistance. Their boarding pods shot toward the human ship with silent precision. On board, Mira and her team watched the projections of the pods, their confidence growing. Humans were supposed to be weak, yet the Aurora trail's defenses activated almost before the pods made contact. A sudden burst of light illuminated the hull. The ship's automated systems targeted the incoming pods, not to destroy them, but to immobilize them. Electromagnetic nets wrapped around the crafts, holding them safely without harming the pilots. On the Varnic side, the commander's smug expression faltered. "What is this?" he demanded. "They are countering our attack without even being touched?" Inside the Aurora trail, Mira watched quietly, allowing the crew and AI to manage the situation. She had trained for years to trust her ship and team. This was a calculated response, designed to neutralize threats efficiently and humanely, Captain, Lumen said. "The boarding pods are immobilized. Their crews are unharmed, but incapacitated. I recommend initiating communication before escalation occurs." Mira nodded. "Do it. Let's make them understand who they are dealing with." A calm, steady signal was transmitted to the Varnic ships. It was simple, clear, and firm. "We know you are there. This is a human exploration vessel. We do not seek conflict. Leave our ship and continue on your path, or we will defend ourselves." The Dominion commander read the message, his anger rising. "Defiant," he muttered. "These humans, they should be afraid." He ordered his fleet to attack, thinking the humans' calm was a bluff. But the Aurora trail's shields adapted instantly. Energy pulses deflected the incoming blasts, redirecting them harmlessly into space. Each attempt the Varnics made only highlighted how unprepared they were for the sophistication of human technology. In the bridge, "Let's show them another lesson in patience," she said softly. "Stay ready, but do not retaliate. Let them see that humans are not as weak as they think." The Dominion forces exchanged tense communications. Confusion spread among their ranks as they realized their weapons were ineffective. What they had assumed would be an easy victory had turned into a puzzle they could not solve. Meanwhile, Lumen worked tirelessly, monitoring the Varnic's fleet, predicting movements, and optimizing defensive measures. The AI's calculations were precise and swift. Humans had designed her not only to protect, but also to teach lessons in resilience and adaptability. The Varnic's commander finally recognized the truth. This was no ordinary human ship. They had underestimated the species' ingenuity, their ability to remain calm under pressure, and their readiness to defend themselves with intelligence rather than brute force. Myra stood, observing the silent chaos outside her ship through the main viewport. Stars streaked by as the immobilized pods floated harmlessly nearby. She allowed herself a small smile, a quiet acknowledgement of the power of preparation, teamwork, and human creativity. "This was just the beginning," she said quietly to herself. "They have no idea what humanity is capable of." As the stars continued to pass, the Aurora trail sailed through the dark expanse, alone yet unafraid. Carrying with her a lesson for the galaxy: never underestimate the human spirit. One ship, one crew, one calm captain, yet impact of their presence would echo far beyond this silent sector of space. And somewhere in the Dominion fleet, the commander would remember this moment forever. The day they targeted a single human ship and realized their mistake instantly. The Varnic's Dominion fleet hovered near the Aurora trail, their ships sleek and menacing, bristling with weapons that had destroyed countless weaker vessels. The commander's confidence had begun to waver. One ship, a single human exploration vessel, had already withstood their initial attack without a scratch. "What is happening?" demanded the commander, his voice sharp with frustration. "Their shields. Their defenses, they respond instantly. How can a single human ship withstand our assault? On the bridge of the Aurora Trail, Captain Myra Hale remained calm. She understood that fear and anger clouded judgment, whether in humans or aliens. She had faced unexpected threats before, and every time the solution had been patience, preparation, and trust in her crew. "Lumen," she said, her voice steady, "analyze their fleet movements. Predict the next approach. I want us ready, but avoid escalation if possible." The ship's AI Lumen responded without hesitation. Analyzing. Varnic ships are attempting a direct assault pattern. Probability of successful boarding is near zero given current defense systems. Recommendation: continue non-lethal neutralization measures and prepare secondary defense protocols in case of full-scale attack. Mira nodded. Understood. Keep monitoring. Meanwhile, aboard the Varnic ships, panic and confusion were beginning to spread among the officers. Their sensors, built for brute force combat, were unable to process the precise and adaptive countermeasures of the human ship. Pods sent to disable the Aurora Trail floated uselessly, ensnared by energy nets. Energy blasts aimed at the ship were redirected harmlessly into space. "This isn't possible," muttered a young Varnix officer, watching the holofeed of his own immobilized pod. "It's just one ship. How can it—" The commander's face twisted in anger. "Do not question my orders," he snapped. "Prepare the boarding teams again. This time, overwhelm them." Back on the Aurora Trail, Mira anticipated exactly this. "Lumen," she instructed calmly, "prepare defensive perimeters around all critical systems. Shield the crew areas and vital components. Activate decoy patterns for exterior sensors." "Yes, Captain," Lumen replied. Lights and holographic projections shimmered around the ship as automated systems adjusted. The ship itself seemed to breathe, its hull shifting subtly to optimize energy flow. Every movement was deliberate, calculated, precise. The Varnix boarding teams launched again, larger and more aggressive this time. Their pods zipped through space with deadly intent. On board the Aurora Trail, Mira and her crew watched, ready but calm. "Deploy nets," Mira ordered. "We stop them, but we do not destroy them. Leave no fatalities." Energy nets shot from the hull of the Aurora Trail, wrapping around the pods with surgical accuracy. The Varnix crews inside were immobilized, shaken but unharmed. Every pod that attempted a maneuver was intercepted with precision. "Captain," said Arik, the communications officer, "they're beginning to understand they underestimated us. Sensor readings show increased confusion and internal communication errors among their fleet." Mira allowed herself a small, approving nod. "Good. Let them see that humans are more than they expected. Sometimes restraint speaks louder than weapons." Despite the calm displayed aboard the human ship, tension remained. Every human on the bridge knew that one mistake could cost lives. Still, they trusted each other, and they trusted their ship. The Aurora Trail was not just a vessel, it was a fortress of human ingenuity. It's designed to handle situations like this without panic. The Varnix commander grew increasingly frustrated. His initial plan had failed spectacularly. The humans were not fighting recklessly. They were organized, patient, and intelligent. Every countermeasure seemed almost anticipating their next move. "This is absurd," he shouted. "They cannot be this prepared. Attack them all at once. Crush them." But the more the Varnox tried to use raw force, the less effective it became. The Aurora Trail's shields adapted, absorbing and redirecting energy in patterns that the aliens could not predict. Automated systems monitored the fleet, tracking every ship, every pod, every blast, and neutralizing threats before they reached the hull. Inside the Aurora Trail, Mira spoke to her crew with quiet determination. "Remember, we do not need to destroy them. Our mission is exploration, not conquest. Defend yourselves, yes, but always with control. Let them understand that attacking us is a mistake." Meanwhile, on the Varnix fleet, officers whispered among themselves. "Captain, their AI. It's thinking faster than we are," one said. "And their tactics. We've never seen anything like it." The commander's anger boiled. He could not understand how humans, a species so small compared to his empire, could possess such intelligence and coordination. Do not waste time, he barked. Board them with everything you have. Lumen, monitoring the fleet, detected a pattern in the Varnic strategy. Captain, they are escalating. Probability of full-scale attack within 5 minutes is high. Recommend activating secondary defense protocol. Aurora core readiness. Myra nodded. Not yet. Continue non-lethal measures. Let them see their mistake clearly. The Varnic's pods approached again, and the Aurora Trail responded like a living being. Nets, shields, and decoys worked in perfect harmony, neutralizing every threat without harming life. The Varnics were left immobilized, frustrated, and increasingly fearful. Eric broke the tense silence. Captain, they're beginning to slow down. Their sensors are failing. They're confused, hesitant. Myra leaned back slightly in her chair. Good. That hesitation is what we need. Fear and respect are very similar. Once they understand who we are, they will act more cautiously. That is our advantage. From outside, the Aurora Trail looked calm, almost fragile against the massive Varnic ships. But appearances were deceiving. Every system was active, every threat neutralized, every calculation made with precision. The humans did not need to strike first. They were proving that intelligence, patience, and preparation could protect even a single vessel against overwhelming odds. The Varnic's commander, realizing his brute force tactics had failed, grew desperate. Prepare the entire fleet. They cannot escape. But even as he ordered this, Lumen was already scanning the entire formation of Varnic ships. The AI calculated trajectories, energy outputs, and weak points in real time, feeding this information directly to Myra. She did not panic. She had trained for moments like this. The humans were ready not to attack, but to survive. To teach a lesson without causing unnecessary destruction, Captain, Lumen said. The Varnics are now within striking distance of our sensors. Probability of miscalculation on their part is high. Suggest continued defensive stance and strategic communication. Do it. A comm transmission was sent across the fleet. We know you are strong. We respect strength. But attacking us is a mistake. Leave now, and no harm will come to you. Continue, and you will see the consequences of underestimating humanity. The message reached the Varnic's commander. Silence followed as his officers read it. The calm, measured tone unnerved them. Humans had not screamed, not threatened, not panicked. They had simply stated the truth. And that truth was enough to shake the confidence of an empire used to instant submission. The commander gritted his teeth. This is impossible. One ship, one small vessel. Is teaching us strategy? They are. Too organized. Too clever. On the bridge of the Aurora Trail, Mira remained serene. She understood that her job was not to scare, but to reveal the consequences of arrogance. The humans were not invincible, but they were smart, coordinated, and prepared. That alone was enough to turn an overwhelming enemy into cautious observers. As the tension stretched, Varnics began to pull back, testing their limits while avoiding further losses. Each human countermeasure was precise, leaving no room for error. The Varnics were no longer confident of victory. Now uncertainty and fear began to grow. Mira leaned in slightly, addressing her crew. This is the lesson of Part 1. One ship, calm and prepared, can change the outcome of an encounter. Never underestimate intelligence over size. Never underestimate humans. The crew exchanged quiet nods, pride and relief reflected in their eyes. The Aurora Trail floated through the void, its calm surface belying the quiet storm of strategy and skill working within, somewhere across the fleet. The Varnic's officers realized that their empire's arrogance had led them to misjudge a single human ship, and in that realization, the first seeds of respect began to form. Captain Myra Hale understood it too. This was only the beginning. The humans had survived the first test of intelligence against brute force. The Aurora Trail had proven that courage, patience, and strategy could make even one ship a formidable presence in the galaxy. The stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the unfolding event. One small human ship, alone in the void, had shown that strength was not always measured in numbers or firepower, but in mind, preparation, and the unwavering spirit to protect what mattered, and the Varnix Dominion would never forget it. The silence of space felt different now. What had started as a simple mission for the Aurora Trail had transformed into an intense standoff. The Varnix fleet hovered nearby, their massive ships bristling with weapons, scanning for weaknesses that simply did not exist. And at the center of it all, the small human ship remained calm, poised, and nearly serene. Captain Myra Hale stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of the surrounding Varnix forces. Her crew had begun to settle into a rhythm, monitoring, defending, and staying ready, but Mira knew the situation was far from over. "Lumen," she said, her voice steady, "how long can our defensive measures hold? Their aggression is increasing." "Da, da, da, da!" The ship's AI responded in its usual calm tone. "Defensive systems are operating at maximum efficiency. Current energy levels are stable. Shields and countermeasures can sustain for prolonged engagement. However, continued escalation may require activation of Aurora Core protocols." Mira's eyes narrowed slightly. The Aurora Core, the hidden heart of the ship, was a human innovation developed after decades of careful research. It had been designed not only to protect the vessel, but to respond intelligently to situations where simple defense was insufficient. Activating it would send a clear message. Humanity was more than its size or numbers suggested. "Prepare the Aurora Core for activation," she ordered, her voice quiet but resolute. "But do not engage until I give the signal." Across the Varnix fleet, the aliens were becoming restless. The initial shock of the human ship's defenses had worn off, and frustration now drove them to riskier maneuvers. Their commander barked orders with increasing desperation. "Surround them completely. Disable their shields. Take control of the vessel." But the more the Varnix tried to use brute force, the more ineffective they became. Every blast they fired, every pod they sent, was met with calm precision, redirected or neutralized without a scratch. The humans were not panicking. They were observing, adapting, and responding in ways the Dominion had never experienced. On the bridge of the Aurora Trail, Mira's crew remained calm. Lieutenant Arik Voss, still monitoring communications, noticed hesitation in the Varnix fleet. "Captain, their formation is unstable. They're trying to reorganize, but their sensors are failing. They don't understand our patterns." Myra nodded. "Let them see the consequences of arrogance. Hold your positions. Stay ready." Then she turned to the main console. "Lumen now." The ship's AI responded instantly, and the heart of the Aurora Trail began to hum with a deep, steady resonance. The Aurora Core had awakened. Lights pulsed across the ship, soft and rhythmic at first, then growing brighter, more pronounced. Energy flowed through the hull like a river of light, spreading to every system, every shield, and every sensor. The Varnix fleet watched in stunned silence. Their instruments could detect the sudden surge of energy, but they could not comprehend its meaning. A single human ship was radiating power far beyond their expectations. And it was not aggressive, it was controlled, intelligent, purposeful. Mira activated a secondary interface, her hands moving gracefully across the controls. Holographic projections appeared, showing the Varnix ships in detailed 3D. Every weak point, every trajectory, every system was analyzed and displayed. Lumen's voice remained calm. "Aurora Core fully online. Defensive and monitoring systems optimized. Probability of neutralizing all hostile attempts is above 99%. The Varnix commander's eyes widened. "Impossible, one ship. It cannot hold us at bay with such precision." "What is this?" From the human perspective, the Aurora Core did not strike blindly. Instead, it illuminated the truth. Humans were organized, intelligent, and united. The core projected subtle energy pulses, not to harm, but to reveal patterns. It scanned the fleet and displayed the humans' capacity for strategy and foresight. Making the Varnix realize that brute force alone could not overcome them, Mira, calm and measured, initiated a long-range communication, Her voice was steady, firm, and free of fear. "Varnic's Dominion," she said. "We do not wish for conflict, but your attacks are a mistake. We are prepared to defend ourselves. You may leave peacefully, or you may witness consequences you cannot imagine. The choice is yours." The transmission caused a ripple through the Varnic's fleet. Officers whispered among themselves, fear beginning to mix with confusion. They had never seen humans act with such composure under threat. The commander's hands trembled slightly as he responded. "Silence your sensors. Ignore their projections. Attack." But the humans were no longer merely reacting. The Aurora Corps had begun to project the idea of human unity's subtle holographic displays of fleets, colonies, and infrastructure across the galaxy, all operating in harmony. The Varnics could see it, even from a distance, and a terrible realization began to take hold. This was no lone species. Humanity was a civilization capable of rapid growth, adaptation, and intelligent strategy. On the bridge, Mira watched the alien reactions carefully. She did not gloat. Humans had never relied on fear or aggression to dominate. They relied on preparation, intelligence, and courage. Her crew remained calm, observing the unfolding events with quiet pride. Arik spoke softly, still monitoring communications. "Captain, they're hesitating. Their commander. He's unsure how to proceed. Sensors indicate internal conflict among their officers. They underestimated us, and now they're realizing the consequences." Mira's lips curved slightly. "Let them understand. We are not just one ship. We are a species that survives, adapts, and grows. Let that lesson reach them before any lives are lost." The Varnic's commander's frustration boiled over. "Attack anyway. Do not retreat. They cannot be allowed to dictate terms." Yet even as he gave the orders, his fleet began to falter. Energy pulses from the Aurora Corps created subtle interferences. Harmless yet disruptive, forcing the Varnic ships to adjust constantly. Their weapons misfired, sensors became unreliable, and their coordination faltered. Every move they made was countered not with brute force, but with intelligence, precision, and patience. Mira addressed her crew, calm and commanding. "Hold your positions. Observe their movements. Learn from their mistakes, but remain ready to act if necessary. Humanity survives not through fear, but through understanding and strategy." The tensions stretched across space. The Varnics were no longer confident. Their initial arrogance had turned into uncertainty. The Aurora Corps continued to hum, radiating a controlled energy that spoke louder than words. It was a reminder. Humanity was organized, adaptable, and not to be underestimated, Arik whispered, almost to himself, "Captain. I think they finally understand. They're seeing the truth about us." Mira nodded, though her expression remained calm. "Let them see. Let them remember." Suddenly, a Varnex officer broke from the line of command. "Commander, we should stop. This is too much. One ship, one species. We misjudge them." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Stop! Are you suggesting we retreat?" "Yes," the officer said firmly. "We cannot win with our current methods. We must reconsider our approach." Mira observed this quietly, sensing the shift. The first signs of respect had begun to appear. It was subtle, but it was there. Even in the Dominion fleet, some recognized that humans were not the weak species they had assumed. The Aurora Corps pulsed one final time, sending a wave of light that radiated outward. Calm and unthreatening, yet undeniably powerful. It was a statement. Humans could defend, adapt, and survive. They did not need to strike first in the Varnix fleet. The commander's voice trembled with a mixture of disbelief and reluctant respect. "Fall back. All ships, retreat. We misjudged them." On the Aurora Trail, Mira allowed herself a moment of quiet relief. "Lumen, maintain monitoring. Keep defensive systems active, but disengage aggressive protocols." "Let them leave peacefully," the AI responded, calm as ever. "Understood, Captain. All systems stable." Outside, the Varnix fleet slowly pulled away, leaving the human ship alone in the silent expanse once more. But this time, the silence was different. It was no longer just emptiness. It carried a subtle acknowledgement. One human ship had stood against an entire fleet, and had proven the unexpected strength of its people. Mira looked at her crew, her eyes reflecting pride and quiet determination. "This was more than defense," she said softly. "It was a lesson. A reminder that humanity, even when small in number, can achieve great things with unity, intelligence, and courage." Arik smiled faintly, and they saw it. The Dominion saw it. Mira nodded. Yes, and they will remember it. Humanity is not weak, not in spirit, not in skill, not ever. As the Aurora Trail sailed forward, calm and steadfast, the Aurora Core's gentle hum continued beneath the surface, a reminder of human ingenuity, resilience, and the quiet power that comes from preparation and unity. Somewhere in the distance, the Dominion fleet retreated, carrying with them a lesson they would not soon forget. Humanity was no longer just a minor species. They were a force to be acknowledged, respected, and never underestimated. The stars stretched endlessly, indifferent observers of the event. But those aboard the Aurora Trail knew the truth. One ship, one crew, one determined human captain had changed the course of an encounter that many believed would be impossible to survive. And for humanity, the journey was only beginning. The Aurora Trail glided through the silent expanse of space, her sleek hull reflecting distant starlight. The human ship had endured the initial assault of the Varnix Dominion and revealed a strength the aliens had never expected. Yet Captain Mira Hale knew the encounter was not over. The Varnix fleet had retreated, but their curiosity and their pride would draw them back. "Lumen," Mira said quietly, her eyes scanning the sensors. "Keep tracking their fleet. They may attempt a return. Prepare for any eventuality, but maintain non-lethal protocols unless absolutely necessary." "Yes, Captain," the AI responded, calm and precise. "All defensive systems are operational. Probability of threat escalation is moderate, but controllable." Mira turned to her crew. "We've done well so far. But this is only part of the lesson. Our goal is not to destroy them, it is to ensure they understand who we are, and why attacking humans is a mistake." Arik Voss, the communications officer, nodded. "Their movements suggest hesitation. Some ships are pulling back, but others are maintaining proximity. They're cautious and confused." "Exactly what we want," Mira said. "Let them think. Let them learn." Across the void, the Varnix Dominion fleet had stopped its retreat. The aliens hovered in uneasy silence, scanning the empty space where the Aurora Trail had been moments before. Their commander was furious, but beneath the anger, a seed of doubt had taken root. One human ship had turned their superior fleet into a hesitant, disorganized force. Their arrogance had been shattered. "Report," the commander demanded of his officers. "What are they doing?" "They are holding still, yet they are more dangerous than we imagined." "They have activated some internal system, Commander," one officer reported nervously. "It projects energy we cannot fully interpret. Our instruments are confused, and our sensors indicate they are not attacking." The commander clenched his fists. "Prepare for full engagement. I will not admit defeat to a single human vessel." But the Varnix were already learning a lesson in restraint. Unlike humans, they relied on aggression and intimidation. The calm and precise response of the Aurora Trail created uncertainty among even their most seasoned officers. Some whispered to each other, questioning the wisdom of continued attack. On the human ship, Mira prepared a controlled escalation. "Lumen," she instructed, "initiate long-range communication. Make it clear we do not seek war, but we are ready to defend ourselves if provoked." The AI processed and transmitted the message. "Varnix Dominion, we have demonstrated that attacking a single human vessel is a grave mistake. We do not seek conflict, but we will protect ourselves. Cease aggression and leave peacefully, or witness the consequences of underestimating humanity." Silence followed in the Dominion fleet. Officers exchanged uneasy glances. The calm, unwavering tone of the message unsettled them. Humans had not shouted, threatened, or panicked. They had merely stated a fact calmly and confidently. "Commander," a young officer whispered, they are not bluffing. Their energy readings suggest they could disable us completely, but they are not doing it. Why? The commander's face darkened. Because that is how humans operate. They do not rely on fear. They rely on preparation and patience. They are different from anything we've faced. Mira observed the alien movements carefully. "Lumen," she said, "prepare the Aurora Core for a controlled, non-lethal energy pulse. Make it visible to their fleet, but harmless. I want them to understand the power they face, without risking unnecessary damage." "Yes, Captain," Lumen responded. Lights and energy began to shimmer across the ship, visible from a distance. The pulse radiated outward in a steady wave, illuminating the surrounding space. The Varnix fleet detected it immediately. What is that?" one officer asked in disbelief. "It's human power," another whispered, "and they are showing it." "Without attacking?" The Varnix commander gritted his teeth. "Do not be intimidated by appearances. Continue engagement." But hesitation had already begun to spread through the ranks. The energy pulse was not destructive, but it was impossible to ignore. It conveyed intelligence, strength, and precision, the hallmarks of a species, capable of much more than their small numbers suggested. Mira watched the effect unfold. "This is the turning point," she said softly. "Let them see. Let them understand." From the Dominion fleet, a young Varnix officer spoke up, surprising his commander. "Sir, attacking them further will only make us appear foolish. One human ship has already demonstrated control and precision beyond our expectations. We should reconsider our approach." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Reconsider? Are you suggesting we retreat?" "Yes, Commander," the officer said firmly. "We are risking unnecessary losses. These humans are not as weak as we thought." The tension was palpable. Across the fleet, doubt spread. The humans had not fired a single aggressive shot. Yet their message and the visible energy from the Aurora Core conveyed a force far greater than the Varnix had predicted. Inside the Aurora Trail, Mira's crew remained composed. Eric spoke quietly. "Captain, they're hesitating. The energy pulse. It's making them pause. They're realizing that their aggression has consequences they didn't anticipate." Mira nodded. "Good. Hold your positions. Let them come to the right decision on their own. That is the power of intelligence, strategy, and restraint." The Varnix commander tried one last display of force, ordering his fleet to advance slightly, hoping to intimidate the humans into submission. But the Aurora Core responded automatically, adjusting energy fields, redirecting sensors, and stabilizing the human ship. The pulse remained non-lethal, but unmistakable. The humans were in complete control. "Captain," Arik said, his voice tinged with awe. They are pulling back. Slowly, but they are retreating. Their formations are breaking. They are realizing we cannot be easily defeated." Mira allowed herself a small smile. "Exactly. Fear is not our tool. Respect is. Let them choose the wiser path." Across the Varnix fleet, murmurs of acknowledgement spread. Officers began to question the wisdom of further attack. The young Varnix who had spoken earlier approached the commander. "Sir, we misjudged them. This is not just one ship. It is a representation of a species capable of unity, strategy, and resilience. We cannot proceed recklessly." The commander's face flushed with frustration, but even he could see the truth. The humans had demonstrated a combination of intelligence, precision, and control that left little room for error. Continuing the engagement could lead to disaster. Finally, with a heavy heart, the commander gave the order. "All ships, retreat. We will withdraw for now. Observe, learn, but do not provoke further." The Varnix fleet slowly began to pull back, leaving the Aurora Trail alone once more. The human crew watched calmly, their mission accomplished without firing a single lethal shot. Mira turned to her crew. "Well done. We have defended ourselves, demonstrated our strength, and taught an important lesson without causing harm. That is true power intelligence, preparation, and restraint." Arik smiled faintly. "They'll remember this. The Dominion won't forget the day they faced one human ship and realized the consequences of underestimating us." Mira nodded, her eyes reflecting both pride and quiet determination. "This is only the beginning. Humanity is rising, and we will always protect ourselves with courage, strategy, and wisdom." The Aurora Trail continued her journey through the silent expanse of space, her crew calm, confident, and united. The Aurora core pulsed gently beneath the surface, a quiet reminder of human ingenuity and the strength that comes from preparation, intelligence, and the willingness to defend without unnecessary violence. Somewhere in the distance, the Varnix fleet retreated, carrying with them a lesson that would shape their understanding of humans for years to come. One small ship had changed their perception, revealing a species that was not to be underestimated, a species capable of remarkable resilience and brilliance. Mira watched the stars outside the viewport, calm and thoughtful. "We've made our point," she said softly. "They know now that attacking humanity is a mistake, and they will remember it." Arik glanced at her. "Do you think they'll come back?" Mira shook her head. "Not soon. Not without understanding the consequences. And when they do, we'll be ready. Humanity always is." As the Aurora Trail sailed on, the stars seemed to stretch endlessly, indifferent witnesses to a turning point that had occurred in the silent void. One ship, one crew, one determined captain had shown that intelligence, courage, and restraint could change the course of history, even against a fleet that believed in its own unstoppable power. And humanity had proven once again, never underestimate a species capable of thinking, learning, and standing together. The stars stretched endlessly around the Aurora Trail, cold and silent witnesses to a conflict that had been resolved without a single casualty. The Varnix Dominion fleet had retreated, hesitant and cautious, carrying with them the realization that humanity was not to be underestimated. Yet Captain Myra Hale knew that their lesson was only partially complete. Respect had been earned through defense. The understanding needed a final gesture, one that could transform fear into recognition and curiosity into alliance. "Lumen," Mira said quietly. Leaning on the bridge console, prepare a long-range communication to the Varnix fleet. Keep the tone calm, clear, and firm. We want understanding, not conflict. "Yes, Captain," the AI responded. "Message protocols ready. Transmission will reach the fleet in real time. Language patterns optimized for clarity and neutrality." Arik Voss, still monitoring communications, glanced at her. "They'll receive it, but do you think they'll respond?" Mira's eyes were steady, her calmness unwavering. "They will. Humans speak with clarity and honesty, even when others rely on intimidation. The message will reach them, and they will understand." Lumen activated the long-range transmitter. The calm, measured human voice carried across space. "Clear and unwavering, Varnix Dominion, we have shown that aggression toward a single human vessel is a grave mistake. We seek no conflict. Humanity grows not through conquest, but through cooperation, intelligence, and perseverance. We invite understanding, not further hostility. Recognize that humans value life, respect strength, and defend themselves with skill and precision." Across the distance, the Varnix fleet received the message. Officers and pilots whispered among themselves. The tone, so different from the usual aggressive or fearful transmissions they were accustomed to, unsettled them. Humans were not pleading. They were not threatening. They were stating a fact, calmly and confidently. The young Varnix officer who had first questioned the attack spoke again, now to the commander. "Sir, they are not aggressive, yet they are undeniably strong. They are offering us peace and expecting us to accept it. I believe we should respond positively." The commander's expression was unreadable. Anger still simmered, but he could see the truth in the reports from his sensors. One ship, a human vessel, had survived a full-scale assault, displayed precise control of technology beyond their comprehension, and yet had chosen not to destroy them. It was a lesson in restraint, intelligence, and the quiet power of humanity. "Very well," the commander finally said. "We will respond. But carefully. Prepare a communication channel." On the bridge of the Aurora Trail, Mira and her crew awaited the reply, maintaining readiness, but showing no signs of fear. Every member of the crew understood that the next steps would define not only this encounter, but the perception of humanity for the Dominion. The response came, slow but deliberate. The Varnix commander's voice, formal yet respectful, reached the human ship. "Humans, we acknowledge your strength and your restraint. We misjudged your species. One ship has shown us what we cannot ignore. We are willing to consider peaceful communication and further understanding."
Ira
allowed herself a small, quiet smile. "Lumen," she said softly, "record the communication. This will be important for our people and for theirs." "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. The bridge relaxed slightly. The tension that had gripped the crew for hours began to ease, replaced by cautious optimism. Humanity had not only defended itself, but it also opened the door to potential diplomacy. "Prepare a meeting request," Mira said, turning to Arik. "We will offer guidance and establish trust. Let them see that humans value cooperation, not dominance." Arik nodded. "Message prepared, Captain. Shall I transmit?" "Do it," Mira said. The communication carried across space. Varnix Dominion. "We invite representatives to meet at a neutral location. Let us establish understanding, share knowledge, and ensure that future interactions are guided by mutual respect and recognition. Humanity believes in growth through unity, not through destruction." Across the fleet, the Varnix officers exchanged uncertain glances. This was unexpected. Humans were offering diplomacy after proving their superiority, not to intimidate, but to build understanding. Some officers were inspired by the gesture. Others were cautious, wary of hidden motives. But the calm assurance of the message made it clear: humans were not deceptive, not rash, and not weak. "Prepare a response," the commander said slowly. "Agree to the meeting, but with careful observation. They have demonstrated capabilities beyond our expectations. We must learn from this." Back on the Aurora Trail, Mira's crew read the reply aloud. "Humans, we accept your invitation. We will designate representatives to meet at the proposed coordinates. This is the beginning of understanding between our species."
Ow!
A quiet cheer rose among the crew. It was subtle, professional, but heartfelt. They had achieved what seemed impossible, turning a near conflict into the first step toward interstellar respect. Mira turned to the viewports, watching as the distant Varnix ships adjusted course, heading toward the agreed location. She reflected on the events of the past hours. One ship, one crew, one comm captain had changed the perception of an entire alien fleet. Humanity's ingenuity, patience, and unity had been enough to prevent bloodshed and open the door to diplomacy. Arik broke the silence. "Captain, they'll remember this. Not just today, but for years to come. Humanity has made its mark." Ira nodded. "Yes, and now we must continue to do so, not through aggression, but through example. Strength is not in destruction. Strength is in preparation, intelligence, and the courage to stand firm while offering peace." The Aurora Trail continued toward the neutral coordinates, her crew ready for the meeting, but calm in their confidence. The Aurora core pulsed gently beneath the hull, a quiet reminder of human innovation, resilience, and the power of foresight. When the human and Varnix representatives finally met, it was not on a battlefield. It was in a neutral station, orbiting a small, uninhabited planet. The station was simple, functional, and a symbol of equality. Humans and Varnix stood apart, observing each other with curiosity and caution. Myra stepped forward, her demeanor calm and respectful. "We have no desire for conflict. We value life, growth, and understanding." Humanity believes that the universe is best explored through cooperation, not conquest. The Varnix commander studied her, his expression unreadable at first. Then, slowly, he nodded. Your species has demonstrated capabilities and restraint that we did not expect. We acknowledge that misjudging you was a grave error. Perhaps we can learn from one another. The dialogue continued for hours, exploring technology, philosophy, and strategies for mutual growth. The Varnix learned of humanity's colonies, scientific achievements, and commitment to peaceful exploration. Humans learned of the Dominion's capabilities, history, and structure. Slowly respect grew. Mira observed it all quietly. She knew that true strength lay not in victory over others, but in building understanding, bridging differences, and demonstrating what her species could achieve. One small ship had proven that humans were not to be underestimated, but now, humanity had the opportunity to turn that proof into lasting respect. After the meeting, as the representatives prepared to depart, the Varnix commander spoke directly to Mira, Captain Hale. Your actions have changed the way we see humanity. You have proven that strength is not just in numbers or weapons, but in intelligence, restraint, and unity. We will remember this day, Mira nodded, her calm confidence unwavering. And we will remember that respect must be earned, not demanded. May this be the beginning of understanding between our peoples. The Aurora Trail departed the station, heading back into the vast expanse of space. Her crew was quiet but satisfied. They had survived, defended themselves, and shown that humanity's ingenuity and courage were unmatched through force, but through intelligence and restraint. Arik glanced at the captain. Do you think this is the start of a lasting peace? Mira's eyes reflected the stars. I believe it is the start of something greater. Humans have shown what they are capable of, not just to the Varnix, but to the galaxy. We protect, we adapt, and we rise. Always. The Aurora core pulsed gently, the quiet heart of the ship echoing the same truth. Humanity's journey was only beginning, but one small ship had already left an indelible mark on the galaxy. One ship had reminded the universe, never underestimate a species that values intelligence, unity, and courage above all else. And somewhere in the distance, the Varnix Dominion would carry the memory of that day for generations, the day they targeted a single human ship, and realized their mistake instantly. The Aurora Trail sailed onward, calm and steadfast, carrying humanity's message that courage, patience, and intelligence were the greatest weapons of all, and that the future of the galaxy was full of possibilities when respect and understanding guided the way. The stars continued to shine, indifferent observers to the humans who had learned to navigate the darkness with calm, purpose, and unwavering strength. One small ship had proven that humanity could rise even against overwhelming odds, and that no fleet, no matter how large, could underestimate a determined and united species. And in that quiet moment, with the hum of the Aurora core beneath her feet, Captain Mira Hal knew humanity had only just begun to show the universe what it could achieve.